Please subscribe my channel. He spotted me among the guests and flashed a wide smile. To my sister Emily, he declared loudly, who's still deciding on her future career. Perhaps someday she'll leave the building sites behind and land a proper position. The crowd erupted in chuckles. My parents raised their glasses with approval. I remained completely motionless. They viewed me as the disappointment. Little did they know, I was the mastermind behind their downfall. Before I reveal whose signature truly appeared on the drawings he clutched, leave a comment below sharing your location. I'd love to know how widely this tale spreads. I didn't smash the flute. I didn't fling the bubbly at Ethan's face. Instead, I gently placed the elegant glass on a server's tray with a calm, intentional clink. That subtle noise served as my final statement. I turned away from the stunning city skyline vista, the expensive suits, and my brother's triumphant grin. I headed straight for the elevators. My mother called out my name, her tone strained with that familiar edge she reserved for diffusing issues quietly. "Emily, don't you even think about it," she whispered sharply. I kept walking. I never glanced back. The doors closed smoothly, sealing away the echoes of their amusement like a sharp blade. The quiet inside the elevator car felt overwhelming, yet it brought incredible clarity. As the floors descended from the top to the ground level, each passing number made breathing feel lighter. Out on the street, the brisk breeze from the Hudson River cut through my formal dress, chilling and invigorating. I strode beyond the row of sleek limousines and drivers, heading to the distant edge of the parking garage. There sat my pickup, a decade-old Chevy, coated in construction grime. Its bed overflowed with measuring tools and safety helmets. The attendant seemed eager to see it go. I hopped into the driver's seat. The familiar sense of stale brew, wood shavings, and fuel immediately steadied me. I fired up the motor and pulled away from the Upper East Side, driving north toward the commercial zones where heavy construction took place. As the urban glow streaked by my windows, I pondered the question I knew others would wonder. Why did I endure it for 6 years? Why did I allow them to treat me like a mere worker while Ethan posed as the designer? Why did I accept the belittling, the invisibility, the leftovers? It wasn't frailty. That's the misconception about people from toxic families, like mine. Outsiders see weakness or entrapment by fear or limited choices. But that wasn't my reality. I was bound by an unseen obligation of duty. For 6 years, I'd been settling a burden that wasn't mine. When my father's company nearly crumbled 3 years earlier, I intervened not out of craving their praise. I did it because I understood the mechanics of our family dynamic better than anyone. I recognized that without my support, everything would collapse on all of us. I served as the essential support beam. I was the critical foundation wall. I bore the strain, the endless hours, the engineering emergencies, and the monetary dread, so they could dwell in their illusion of effortless wealth and disappearing troubles. I remained because I believed supporting them was my responsibility. I equated strength with carrying the load. But that evening, Ethan made his view crystal clear. He didn't recognize a support beam. He saw a mere tool, something to exploit and then ridicule for its purpose. He assumed he could demean the base and still enjoy the luxury above. I clenched the will tightly, fingers paling. It hit me then. I wasn't merely quitting employment. I wasn't just exiting a celebration. By leaving, I was stripping away the stability from their whole existence. They labeled me the disappointment because I was dusty from work. They failed to grasp that the dust was what bound everything securely. I wasn't the disappointment. I was the sole reason they remained upright. And now I had stepped away. Tears didn't come. Panic didn't strike. I simply navigated through the night, sensing the enormous burden easing from my back and landing squarely on theirs. 3 years back, the only thing my father Richard was constructing was legal trouble. It stemmed from a huge safety breach on the waterfront development, the sort of recklessness that ruins reputations and drains finances. He faced prosecution and a deficit so vast it resembled a tomb. I was 23, just months from completing my graduate degree at Stanford. I held a complete scholarship and a promising path unrelated to fixing my father's errors. But when he phoned me sobbing, pleading, claiming the family heritage was vanishing, I chose differently. I prioritized family over reason. I abandoned my program. I crammed my belongings into a couple of bags and returned to Manhattan. For the following year and a half, luxury events were absent from my life. I resided in a site trailer reeking of cold drinks and damp materials. I dismissed the incompetent supervisor Ethan had appointed due to their social ties. I recalculated the support capacities manually because Ethan overlooked sheer forces. I bargained with labor groups. I streamlined logistics and fixed hazardous procedures that bordered on deadly. By the waterfront site's grand opening, I'd rescued the company millions in penalties and setbacks. Millions. Ethan arrived in fresh attire, beaming for photographers. I lingered in the rear, grimy, clutching documents. I assumed that merited recognition. I thought it settled my obligations. But waking the day after the event, gazing at my small apartment ceiling, I understood my devotion hadn't earned admiration. It merely gave them opportunity to plan my replacement. My device buzzed relentlessly on the bedside table. No remorse arrived, only attacks. Ethan's initial message, "You humiliated Dad yesterday. Mature and pick up." Then a recording from my mother, Laura. Her words were tense, controlled, the voice for handling emergencies. "Emily, we must address the ownership of the Green Summit plans. Backers are inquiring about credit. Come today to sign the transfer documents. Quit the selfishness. This deal surpasses your pride." They didn't seek reconciliation. They needed my approval. They realized the concepts belonged to me legally and required my release for a smooth sale. Then came the pressure. A message from the crew supervisor, a solid guy named Thompson, who'd mentored me more than any instructor. He forwarded an internal note from Ethan, a layoff alert for my whole team. Ethan threatened to dismiss the builders of his success simply to wound me. I rose from bed. The anticipated sorrow never appeared. Instead, a steely resolve filled me. I checked professional networks. Ethan had shared a gala image of the acclaimed group. Originally, I stood at the edge. In his post, I'd been removed. Vanished. His note, "Innovative guidance demands decisive steps. Honored to steer this company forward." I stared at the image, at the void where I once was. They aimed not only to claim my creations, but to erase me entirely while profiting from my efforts. They believed editing me out would eliminate me. They overlooked that I laid the groundwork. Removing the base causes collapse. I ignored the messages. I skipped returning calls. I brewed strong coffee, approached my design station. No outbursts needed. A strong collection did. I disregarded intimidation. I dismissed manipulation. I viewed their frenzy as distant sight clamor, loud, risky, but irrelevant to progress. I donned my soul-fitted outfit, purchased for my thesis presentation pre-dropout. I gathered the drive with timestamps, initial digital models, and manual computations from years prior. Into the case they went. Then I headed to the towering structure housing the city's most intimidating competitor. Elena was an icon here. She didn't erect structures, she reshaped horizons. Ruthless, genius, she'd pursued acquiring my father's business for years to dismantle it. I entered the foyer unannounced. To the receptionist, "Inform Elena I possess the sheer calculations for the waterfront and they're flawed." Moments later, I sat in a lavish office worth more than my parents' home. Elena skipped pleasantries. No beverage, no grin. She positioned herself behind a sleek desk and observed. No resume wasted time. I spread the documents across the surface. Not Ethan's gala versions. The authentic ones. With accurate support metrics. Dated over a year back. Elena adjusted her spectacles. She followed the markings with a polished nail. Paused at the core evaluation. Noted the timestamp. Glanced at me. "Ethan filed an update with authorities recently," she stated calmly. "He slashed deal by 20% for savings." "Exactly," I replied. "That's my reason here. Constructing per his specs means a strong gust could fracture the structure within years." Elena leaned back, removed her glasses. "You're the talent," she murmured. "The one who corrected the grading on the central project. The one who renegotiated materials." It was an inquiry. "Yes." "Why endure?" she pressed. "Why accept site pay for executive contributions?" I began the standard response on allegiance, familial bonds. Elena interrupted, advancing, gaze intense. Understand functional bias, Emily? I shook negatively. It's when repeated use blinds you, she explained. Hammer nails daily for years, and the mind sees only hammer, not potential weight, stopper, or tool of force. Your relatives fell into that. Hard hat. Dirt, correcting errors, they fixated on your role as repairer. Incapable of envisioning you as creator, hooked on your utility. They mistook cost for worth. Low pay convinced them of low value, unaware you were their priciest resource. She touched the plans, not mere malice, though present. They took because they feel entitlement, you as their tool. First time my experiences explained without love excusing harm. Analytical. Exact. The blueprint of my obliteration. I'm no tool, I affirmed. Elena's smile was fierce, calculating. You're the designer who'll aid my takedown. Welcome aboard. Lead manager, twice your pay, plus ownership of these concepts. Agreed, I stated. I exited with a formal offer. No tremors left. My phone showed numerous unanswered from Ethan. I left access open for when instability began. The expansive windows in my fresh space at Elena's company framed the urban framework. Cranes, beams, flowing vehicles visible. 3 weeks in, compensation genuine. Regard authentic. Yet I fixated on Green Summit advancement. An unresolved flaw nagged. I knew Ethan's habits, indolent, frugal. The steel cut lingered. How approved? Inspectors rigorous. Major alterations demand fresh certification. Late Tuesday. Office hushed under screen glow. I accessed the New York City building's database. Open records. Entered the identifier. Files appeared gradually. Updated diagrams. I examined foundation details. Pulse raced. Not my final version from months ago. An initial sketch. Version 4. Memorable for my win-load error in century-level events. Excessive movement. Cracking concrete. Spalling. Eventual failure under stress. I discarded it long ago. Warned Ethan explicitly. This endangers lives. Why submit it? Cheaper elements. Skipped my added bracing in later iteration. Millions saved in materials. Hands chilled. Flawed submission requires professional verification. Liability stamp. Ethan unlicensed. Father's expired. Bottom corner, circular seal. Emily Harper, licensed engineer. Number 07284. With my forged script in ink. Space fun. I hadn't approved this. Never sealed that draft. Secured my seal pre-departure. Impact struck like demolition. Not simple theft for sale. Deeper malice. Aware of risks. Desired savings but evaded accountability. Forged to frame me. Tower rises, then falls. Ethan safe. Richard safe. I imprisoned. Record holder. Scapegoat for disaster. Willing to entomb me in their avarice debris. I shut the device. Terror faded, supplanted by icy fury. They sought a victim. Instead, armed me perfectly. The Hudson gust swirled as I lingered behind the ceremony canopy, observing my relatives toast deception. Father wooed officials. Mother courted funders. Brother Ethan at the stage, gripping ceremonial tool, peddling fiction. Nearby, Elena and Inspector Roberts held evidence, fabricated papers, fake reports, theft of my seal. Our approach hushed the assembly. Ethan's taunt faltered as Roberts declared criminal investigation. I displayed the counterfeit plan with my name and projection of failure. Backers scattered. Authorities advanced. Ethan released the tool. Aftermath revealed years of deceit. Father revoked credentials. Mother pleaded futilely. Ethan faces judgment. I advanced. As partner at Elena's, I survey the vacant site of their collapse and emerging structure of mine, the horizon pinnacle. I secure my seal, not threat, but instrument, and grasp the essence. True retribution isn't ruin. It's erecting superior amid wreckage. I didn't inter them. I ceased supporting.